Welcome back to Hannity. So this weekend, Hillary Clinton is set to give her first big campaign speech right here in New York. So how are Republicans going to respond if Hillary wins the Democratic nomination? Well, it may look a little like this new RNC ad. Watch this.
Hillary Clinton's poll numbers heading in the wrong direction.
Growing numbers say she's not honest.
Everything that she's about right now is a turnoff.
An avalanche of bad stories.
Favorability is falling.
Is trying to position herself as the champion of everyday Americans.
She hasn't driven herself in her own vehicle in 20 years.
1996. It's a disconnect with normal everyday people.
$25 million in paid speeches.
Go to the end of the line.
Who gets to hold her crown while she speaks? Act like she's allergic to real people.
All right, here to explain more is the RNC chairman, Priebus. I'm only guessing, but it seems like you're only touching the surface because I didn't hear about a woman that said she's 2 steps away from being a hoarder, except when it comes to her own email account, which she erases. So I would expect more coming, right?
Well, it's just the tip of the iceberg, Sean. But, you know, think about what's going on here. Do you remember now, you and I talked, it may have been a month ago, about when Hillary launched her campaign, and it was this brilliant idea of getting in a van, and it was going to be quiet and average and everything that she's not. Well, now they're doing round 2. I don't remember a presidential campaign having a second rollout. This is like a redo happening on Saturday. So now she's going to, you know, do this on Roosevelt Island out in New York. But we're going to be there like we should be, and we'll be there. We'll hand out a few surprises, and we'll have a lot of folks over there as well.
All right, so she's getting all this money, and then she, obviously countries like Saudi Arabia bought her silence because she's never criticized their abysmal human rights record or women's rights record or gay and lesbian rights record.
Sure.
And then, of course, Iran, Sweden was able to continue their business with Iran while the rest of the world was, in fact, putting up sanctions against them. But the Clinton Foundation got $26 million there. How big of an issue do you think that will be with voters?
Well, it's going to be a huge issue, Sean, because, you know, here's the thing. Presidential elections come down to, obviously, the issues, but it also comes down to the question of, you know, which one of these candidates care more about you? Who do you want to have a beer with? You know, who do you like? Who do you relate to? And Hillary Clinton is unrelatable. Number one, you see poll after poll, people are finding her to be untrustworthy by 60%. But number two, she doesn't live a life that's even remotely close to any actual average families that are out there in Ohio that are going to be voting.
She hasn't driven in 20 years. She hasn't driven a car in 20 years. Good grief. All right, let me put up. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just going to say that, you know, her research team puts out a hit piece on Marco Rubio for getting a couple speeding tickets when in reality she hasn't even driven a car.
Yeah, and by the way, I have a picture of
she comes out on the short end of that deal.
I have a picture of a boat that looks like the one, they call it a luxury speedboat in the New York Times. It's a little itty-bitty fishing boat. It's almost like a dinghy. And then, of course, they didn't put in the picture of the $7 million New Zealand-built yacht of John Kerry, or that the Clintons made $100 million in the last couple of years. Is this what every Republican's going to have to deal with? They have a little dinghy versus, you know, extravagance and opulence on a level the Clintons are like kings and queens.
Well, listen, but it's also going to be up to us and your listeners and us having an RNC that has its act together and is competent and can get these messages out on the streets, not just through television advertising, but, you know, having 10 people every 10 blocks reminding people across the country in the battleground states who Hillary and Bill Clinton really are. So it's going to take a lot of work, and we're going to be there to make sure that happens.
Chairman, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.